When the World Cup was in Sweden in 1958, I was 10. The impact was Pelé. He was 17. And I was interested in football before that, playing, of course. But after that, it became a dream to be a player for the Swedish national team, of course. I think at that time, Pelé became a big hero for the whole world and Swedish people as well, of course. But there were great players in the Swedish national team, like Gunnar Nordahl, Gunnar Gren, Nils Lidholm. So I think most young boys my age, they had a dream to be like them, because they were the first Swedish players who became professional outside Sweden, and they moved to Italy. I always dreamt about to be professional outside Sweden and to play for the national team and play in the first division, like Premier League in Sweden. I didn't reach none of them as a player, so when I was 27, I played in second division, and then my friend, my maestro, Tord Grip, told me that he thought it's better that I finish playing and start to become a coach. So I started as his assistant manager in a third division team in Sweden. At that time, English football was very important and very popular in Sweden. We could, since 40 years back or something like that, look at English football in television every Saturday afternoon, and half of Swedish population was sitting there. That was a highlight of the week, to see a game. And if you look back many years, the pitches were bad, it was raining, the ball was heavy. So it was a lot of kick it long and a fight. Today it's different, of course, and the pitches are always good today. But Swedish people are born more with English football than with Swedish football, I would guess. So when I later, as a coach, presented the idea to play 4-4-2, instead of playing with a sweeper and marking, it was easy to introduce it, because most of English football was playing four in the back line and so on. It was new in Sweden, but it was not new in England. It was a young team, and then when I took over in Gothenburg, 79 I think it was, Bob Houghton and Roy Hodgson, they were already in Sweden and did very well with the system 4-4-2. So it was not that difficult, and I had a young, hungry team in Gothenburg. I was in Gothenburg 3.5 years, and we did more or less the same thing every training session. We trained how to play exactly. In the beginning, I was walking with the players. You stand there, and things like that. So we bought some new players, thought we should be a little bit successful in Europe. We couldn't dream about winning the UEFA Cup as we did 1982. So it was a big surprise, and for many of the players it was a new start in life. Many of them became professional, and the coach, myself, I got the opportunity to leave Sweden and be a full professional coach outside. I got the opportunity to be the coach manager of Benfica, and I took that. And it was a big step, of course, because I never been outside Sweden coaching. But the biggest step was from third division to the first division in Sweden some years before. So when I came to Benfica, I thought I will try to do the same thing here as I did in Gothenburg, and it worked. I was very lucky because Benfica came from bad years, not winning many trophies, and Benfica is such a big club in Portugal and in Europe that they have to win. If you don't win with Benfica, it's a failure. Second is nothing. So the players listened to me and my ideas, which were completely new for them, how to train, how to play, and things like that. And mentality also. When you play away, you go to win. You don't go there to defend and happy with the draw. So they listened to me, and it was good. We had 2 seasons, my first spell in Benfica, and we won the league twice, won the cup. We went to final in UEFA Cup. So it was very, very good. With the results in Benfica, I got offers from other clubs. And at that time, Italian football was probably the best in Europe, maybe the best in the world, the best league. All the best players went there. So when I got that offer just from Italy, I took it. And the reason I got that offer was that Benfica has knocked out Roma from UEFA Cup in quarterfinal year before. So when I got it, I decided that it's time to move, and Roma. I came to a good team, but an old team. They had big success with Nils Lidholm, Swedish coach. And the year before I came there, they won the league and they played final in Champions League. They lost against Liverpool on penalties at the stadium in Rome, Olympic Stadium. So it was a team full of success, full of great players, the names. They felt like they were kings of Rome. And I came there with some other ideas. I wanted them to run more, and I struggled in the beginning. The whole first year I struggled a lot. So sometimes I thought, was it the right move to go to Italy or not? But after a while we got some new fresh players, young, and my second year was very, very good in Rome, and it changed. But it was difficult in the beginning. When I was in Benfica, before I accepted to go to Rome, they phoned me from Barcelona and said, don't go to Rome, come to us. Because when you come to Italy, you cannot sit on the bench. Because it was forbidden for foreign coaches to sit on the bench. And that happened. I was sitting on the stands for 1 year, and that was difficult. And the team played badly. I couldn't do anything from the stands. I was not allowed to go into the dressing room in halftime. It was not an ideal situation. But after a year, it became better. I learned a lot when I came there. And if you want to play my style of football, you cannot have old players and famous players which not willing to do the job both ways, not only attacking, also defending, but really defending even if you're a striker, because that was and is my philosophy. And today it's normal, but at that time it was not. A striker is a striker. A striker shall score goals. Defending, well, it's up to the others. So that was a reason, and I learned to myself, I said, Sven, if you want to play that in the future, get the right players. In other way, waste of time. After 5 years in Italy, the last 2 years in Fiorentina, I had only won 1 title. And I came from Gothenburg and Benfica, winning titles every year. So I thought, when Benfica came and asked me if I wanted to come back, I thought, I go back. I will win titles again, for sure, because Benfica is Benfica. So that was the main reason. And I could have stayed in Fiorentina, but Fiorentina was at that time a team with ambitions to be in the middle of the table. Not ambitions to win anything, ambitions not to go down. And at that time I was not used to that, so I preferred to go back. I came back to Benfica and some things had changed. I was away for 5 years and come back, and there were a lot of new players. but good players, and we won the league, I think, once, and we played the final in Champions League against Milan, probably the best team in Europe, maybe in the world at that time, club team. A lot of famous players, like the three Dutch, Gullit, Van Basten, Rijkaard. They were incredible. 195, 190, quick, good technique, strong, very good football players. And all the rest of Milan. We reached the final and played them in Austria, in Vienna. It was a poor game. Milan was not at their best, and we didn't have the strikers to break down the defenders in Milan. Costa Corta, Baresi, Maldini, and I had a Brazilian one and a Swedish striker, and we were not strong and we were not quick enough to come in behind them. We might have had one chance to score in 90 minutes. But we defended very well against them, and they had only one chance to score, but they scored and won 1-0. It was a pity, but I know that we lost against probably the best team in Europe at that time. I left Benfica again after 3 years because I got an offer from Sampdoria in Genoa, Italy again. And the reason why I came there was that Mancini and Vialli at that time, Gianluca Vialli, had got in their heads that they wanted me as a coach. I don't think it was the chairman, the owner, who wanted me. It was these two players. So I signed, and still Italian football the best in the world. I signed for them, and then I should start working some months later. And the chairman of Sampdoria phoned me and said, I cannot compete any longer with Milan, Juventus and Inter. I have to start to sell players. So tomorrow he said, unfortunately, Sven, I'm going to sell Vialli to Juventus. And that's what he did. And he said, if you want to come, you're more than welcome. If you want to change your mind, you are free to do that. But I went there, and there were 5 very lucky years. Sampdoria was like a family club. I think we won only one title, the Italian Cup, in 5 years, but we were second, third in the league. And we had some really good players, and I liked that time. I was in Sampdoria for 5 years, and after these 5 years I thought, and the club thought as well, it's time, Sven, to move. So then it became Lazio, and I was there for 3 years. I think we won 7 titles, something like that, and very good, excellent. And the chairman was brilliant. He did almost everything I asked him to do. We bought fantastic players, and we got a super team, and we won a lot. So it was a good time, and I always remember that time in my career. I changed some players who'd been there for a long time and didn't have the right mentality, I thought. Beppe Signori was one of them. He was a captain, he was the best goal scorer, he played for the national team. But he's been there for many years without any success, and he was not positive. I went to the chairman one day and said, we have to sell Signori. And I thought he got a heart attack. He said, no, you're joking, Sven, he said. That's not possible. He's our captain and best player. He's a king in this city amongst the fans. Yeah, but I said he's not the right one if we want to win trophies. And I think it took a couple of weeks, and I every day was on it. Sell him. Suddenly he did it, and the fans got absolutely crazy. They hated me. They wanted to kill me, I think. And we sold him Thursday, Friday. Sunday we had Udinese at home, and we lost that game. Ooh, hard times. So next training, I couldn't come into the training ground because it was blocked by supporters, no training. The police were there, but they couldn't handle the situation. The fans had climbed over the walls, and invaded the training pitch, so no training. They were sitting on my Volvo banging. He didn't think we should win and I could win anything. So I wanted to change him and some other players. And took in fantastic players like Veron, like Mihailovic, Mancini, great players. And it became a winning team. Some months later, or say half a year later, we won the first trophy, and after that we won 6 more. And no one said anything about Signori anymore. They still remember him in Lazio because he was a great player. But no one told me we should have kept him anymore. We were a lot of points after Juventus. But I still said to the players, we can win this. I don't know how many players thought it was possible. The owner, he said, Sven, it's gone again. No, I said, we can still win it. And we started to play from good football to brilliant football. And I think we played a lot of games without losing any games and just went one way, win after win after win. And Juventus started to struggle a little bit. So we took in everything and everything was decided last game. Our game was finished. We won it and we would be champion if Juventus didn't win in Perugia. And in halftime, Perugia-Juventus, it was raining so heavily. So the game was delayed almost for 1 hour. And at that game, Collina was a referee. Collina, a great referee. And Juventus, they said, because they were losing 1-0, Juventus said, new game, another day. And Collina was strong. I think any other referee would have said, okay to Juventus another day. Collina said, we wait. And they did, and we were listening to that game in radio from our dressing room. And they couldn't score, so we were the champions. Strange way, but beautiful. Beautiful day. We had so many players who could win a game for themselves. And for example, we had a defender, central defender, who could win the game, Mihailovic. Just give him a free kick. Well, he had at that time the best left foot in the world. Then, of course, players like Nedved, Mancini, Veron, Salas, of course. But anyone could score a goal there. And they did. And above all, it was a team with not one leader. It was a team with 11 leaders, all of them. And if you take what they're doing today, Mancini is a great coach, Diego Simeone, great coach. I had him as a midfielder. Almeida, great coach. Nesta been a coach as well. So fantastic. And you could see that. And they were all winners. And they believed we can do it, we can win. We won the league on Sunday. And I think it was Wednesday after, it was a final in Italian Cup. And we played Inter away with Lippi. And I remember I was speaking to Lippi, and Lippi said, now you've been winning everything, let us win. I said, I'm sure you will win because we haven't really prepared the game because everything is crazy. But I remember in the day before in the dressing room, I said, if you are professional, you go out and you go out fighting. And they did, and we won. And I think that was a really winning mentality. They came out there, we're going to have that trophy as well. And from what I took over there, they didn't have any winning mentality. It became in these years, and that was beautiful. I appreciate that win more than the league, because the way they did it. In football, we talk a lot about formation, 4-4-2, 3-5-2, whatever it is. 4 in the back line, 3 in the back line, 2 strikers, 3 strikers, 1 striker. And that's going on for ever, I would say. And for me, when I started as a coach, the system was everything. 4-4-2 with Gothenburg. If it's 1-0 for my team, 5 minutes to go, a striker injured, I took him out, of course, and put in a new striker. Never a midfielder. So the system was, for me, absolutely the most important. By the time I moved outside Sweden, had big famous players, I started to change a little. System is always important, but the players are the most important. So if you have really good football players, make the system for them, not the opposite. Because if you have players like Veron, like Mancini, to press, to be very aggressive, it's not their way. So you can't really expect them to do that. So if you stick to the system, very, very aggressive and so on, you can't take these kind of players. But these two, they win football games for you. For sure. Every day, more or less. So by the time I thought I have to get the players I want, and after that I do the system which suits them. I was in Lazio and I was going to a mini holiday, or I was at a mini holiday because it was national team playing, and of course club teams, they had 2-3 days off. I got a phone call from England, from Old Wembley, a man called Ethel Still. He said, I'm at Wembley, I just saw England losing against Germany, 1-0, a qualification game for the World Cup 2002. And he said, would you be interested in taking the England job? I said, you're joking, Ethel. You know that's not possible at all. Well, you can always try, he said. I'm here with Adam Crucier and David Dean, who was one of the Arsenal guy, of course, but he was also on the board in the national team. And Keegan has just resigned. Well, I didn't. Goodbye. But 1-2 days later, Adam Crucier phoned me and asked, are you interested to take over that job? Yeah, I said, of course I would be that. Even if I had Lazio, but England is, I mean, it's the biggest you can have. Probably the best football job, the most famous and the biggest you can have. When you have players, you can see that they're tactically very good, some of the players. And if you take big players I had, take one today, for example, Frank Lampard, tactically very good. Even Steven Gerrard, tactically very good. In Italy, Ancelotti, I had him for 3 years in Roma. I made him captain. And you could understand that very nice guy, very seriously, extremely professional, always interested, asking me, why did we do that on training? What are we going to do tomorrow? And things like that. So you could understand he will be a coach. And he became a very good coach. The same with Mancini. I think Mancini was a coach even when he was a player. He coached on the pitch, he told the players what to do and what not to do. So sometimes you can understand that Diego Simeone, tactically extremely good. But sometimes I'm surprised. I had some other players who got famous coaches. Sergio Conceição, I had in Lazio. He became a very good coach in Porto. If you had asked me when he was a player, I wouldn't have no chance, I would say. But here you are.